Hello and welcome. Thank you for joining our session today at Virtual Navigate. While we wish we were there with you in person, we're excited to share with you our new identity solution around identity governance and administration and robotic process automation. My name is Gretchen Wickman, and I'm a managing director at Agile. I've been in the security and identity space for almost 20 years, a SailPoint partner since the company started, and am part of the team responsible for leading our SailPoint partnership. Today, my colleague Arlene and I will be sharing with you how to accelerate your identity program with robotic process automation, also known as RPA. We've seen a lot of traction and interest from the marketplace with this leading edge identity solution. Arlene, would you do a quick intro, please?
Sure, Gretchen. Hi, I'm Arlene Mordano, a managing director at Agile. I've been in the identity space also for 20 years. I'm one of the leads in the identity practice at Agile. I'm spearheading the release of this solution for Agile, and I'm happy that Gretchen and I get to share this with you finally. So here's our agenda for today. We'll quickly talk about who Agile is. Then Gretchen will go through a quick introduction of robotic process automation, or RPA. We'll talk about why you would use RPA to complement your identity governance strategy and implementation. We will go through the benefits of RPA in your identity program. I'll give you an overview of Agile's RPA plugin solution. Then we'll quickly go through a case study. And finally, we'll talk about how to get started. I'll turn it over to Gretchen now.
Before we dive into the topic at hand, in case you aren't already familiar, I wanted to take a few minutes to introduce you to Agile and our identity practice. At Agile, we are a strategy-first risk and security advisory services firm. We were established in 2001 and are backed by a $3 billion private equity fund. Agile has a national presence of deep security specialists focused on establishing and maintaining long-term client relationships by helping our clients be successful. Our consultants average more than 10 years of experience spread across our three high-level practices: risk and compliance, or integrated risk management, information protection and cloud security, and all things identity and access management. We are strategic partners with SailPoint and have been an Admiral delivery partner for 2 years running. Although we're a strategy-first organization, once strategy is established, we have a proven methodology and track record for successfully implementing SailPoint identity solutions. Now, what is RPA? Robotic process automation is a form of business process automation by which a software bot uses a combination of automation, computer vision, and machine learning to automate repetitive high-volume tasks that are rule-based and trigger-driven, which is perfect for user lifecycle management processes like provisioning and deprovisioning. RPA bots are capable of mimicking most human-computer interactions to carry out error-free tasks at high volume and speed, boosting operational efficiency for organizations. Through conversations with our customers, we've seen that most organizations already have an IPA infrastructure, such as Blue Prism or Automation Anywhere, that can be leveraged for IGA. Now, why use RPA with IGA? As I mentioned, RPA automates repetitive business processes with minimal errors, so it works really well for IGA, where there's no direct or out-of-the-box SailPoint connectors for legacy and other complex applications. Building a custom connector can be costly to develop and maintain over time. On the other hand, doing manual provisioning can also be costly, error-prone, and is typically less secure. Most organizations have hundreds, if not thousands, of applications to onboard into an IGA solution like SailPoint, which many times becomes the bottleneck to moving forward with your identity and access management roadmap. With RPA, application onboarding can be done much more quickly and at a lower cost. Now, I'll turn it over to Arlene to talk about Agile's RPA plugin solution.
Thank you, Gretchen. The reasons you mentioned are absolutely true. I've been in so many IGA programs where the roadmap is so elongated with the bottleneck of having to create these custom connectors for delimited files or legacy applications that don't even have an API. So our solution takes full advantage of the SailPoint IIQ plugin framework. But by the way, we can make this work for identity now as well. But for this discussion today, let's focus on Identity IQ as a SailPoint product as our IGA. So your usual joiner, mover, lever workflows would trigger the bots to do the operations for applications that a custom connector would typically do. So with this solution, you're able to leverage your existing RPA infrastructure. As Gretchen mentioned earlier, we find that most of our clients already have Automation Anywhere or Blue Prism, and we can work with either one of them. The plugin is well thought out in terms of design. So it has traffic controlling features where you can forward a request, you can throttle or turn back all incoming requests if for some reason you need to. If there are failures in the operations, of course, there are retries that you can configure. And if all else fails, you can still open a help desk ticket like you would usually do anyway. There is full auditing included, as well as a screenshot of what the bots did. With us being a leading ServiceNow GRC partner, we recognize the value of evidence. There's also a monitoring dashboard, as you can see on the screen, that shows availability of the bots, other KPIs and metrics that we can show in the dashboard, and also show latency information, if any. And here are the benefits of Agile's RPA plugin. It complements your existing connector integration roadmap. Those applications that were going to be highly complex to onboard can now be onboarded quickly. It integrates with your existing workflows. It's almost as if it's just another connector. True, it's not as fast as a direct connector, but it's faster than a human. It's less error prone than a human, and it's lower cost and faster to get an application onboarded into IIQ. It speeds up your identity program and shortens your roadmap timelines. It's very attractive to a lot of CISOs out there. There are fallback mechanisms during failure. And last but not least, provisioning is automatic. It's immediate. What this means is that you don't need to wait for the next aggregation before you can request for entitlement for that application. And there's also comprehensive error handling and reporting. Now let's quickly talk about a case study of a client who is going through this journey right now. So as you can see in the diagram, this client is using the ServiceNow portal as the access request entry, using Agile solution with the ServiceNow catalog integration. That solution, by the way, is slightly different from the out-of-the-box catalog integration offered by SailPoint. Leveraging our ServiceNow expertise, Agile makes use of the native portal capabilities of ServiceNow, but that's another topic of discussion. Do check it out, though, because it is one of our published content in this virtual Navigate. So as you can see, after the request is made and approved, the request is forwarded to SailPoint for fulfillment. The ticket information is then passed to the plugin, which interacts with your RPA infrastructure. The bots then process the access request automatically. The plugin maintains the ticket status, compiles the status of tickets, and makes the accounts immediately ready for entitlement requests. Again, you don't have to wait for that next aggregation. The completed ticket status is then passed to ServiceNow. Now, in case of an error, a work item is opened in IIQ. So to summarize the case study, our end-to-end solution includes two major parts. As you can see, the first part is ServiceNow portal, as our client happens to include the ServiceNow portal as the entry point for the access request, which in itself is another discussion because Agile offers a unique solution varying slightly from the integration being offered by SailPoint because we actually use native capabilities in ServiceNow instead of custom forms. So please do check out that solution. So this end-to-end solution enables a unified portal for both access requests and approvals. It is scalable and has the blessing of both SailPoint and ServiceNow product teams. There's a strong focus on configuration, not customization. ServiceNow is a choice whether to route the request to SailPoint or create a ServiceNow ticket for application owners, which is still an option. So the second part of the solution you see on the slide is the fulfillment part, which is the backend side. This is where SailPoint comes in and the RPA plugin from Agile. So now SailPoint has that flexibility to process the requests via the connectors or by the bots. So to help you get started, these are some of the questions that you can ask your key stakeholders in your organization. it is important to do your due diligence to really estimate the effort, and we can even help you do that. We help you go around your business units and assess which applications are good candidates. We have business analysts and data scientists that can look at historical information and do some of these top-down analysis, help you do ranking and prioritization, or you can do it yourselves as well. So you can ask the BUs, your business units, which of these applications do not have APIs or can be connected only via a delimited file connector. Those would be good candidates. How often do these applications change? So you can estimate how often you need to retrain your bots, because you do have to retrain them if something changes. Which applications operations are needed? Are they just regular add, edit, delete, disable, or is changing a password needed as well?
Another key stakeholder group you may want to talk to is the help desk, and ask them things like, how frequent are these requests coming in for these applications? Which ones are the hardest ones or the most problematic, and which ones might be good candidates to be delegated to bots? And then for your management team, is there a chargeback mechanism so that the business units can share the cost? We found that with our customers that with an RPA infrastructure, the cost can be shared across divisions. And then secondly, is there a well-defined process on how to request for IAQ integration or SailPoint integration? Arlene, I think it'd be valuable for us to go through some questions that we typically get from our customers when they're thinking about leveraging RPA for their identity program. Maybe you could take this first question. Does this help my implementation or my ongoing program?
Yes, leveraging RPA will speed up your application onboarding timeline as it's quicker to implement, especially for those complex custom connectors where there's not an out-of-the-box integration or a direct connector from SailPoint. That's a good question, Gretchen.
Yeah, another good one, and I can answer this one, is how do I know if I need this? Well, you know you need it if you have a backlog of a lot of applications that need to be integrated into SailPoint, and if you have complex legacy applications that don't have an out-of-the-box integration. The purpose of this is to augment the many direct connectors from SailPoint so that you can onboard as many applications into SailPoint IGA within shorter timelines. Here's another good one for you, Arlene. What if I don't have an RPA solution already?
Well, an RPA infrastructure is required to leverage the Agile RPA plugin. So if you already have one, then you won't have to go out and buy one. This solution is really ideal for those who already have an infrastructure, or if they're planning to build one for other automation purposes. We find that most of our clients and most of the organizations that we talk to already have one.
Yeah, that's good, and so they don't have to go buy a new one. Here's another good one. Does this work with both IIQ and Identity Now? And the answer to that is yes. The RPA plugin leverages the IIQ plugin framework and can also be used with Identity Now. What about this one, Arlene? Can only Agile implement this?
Yes. So this is a solution that was developed by Agile. So at this point, only Agile can implement it.
Another question we get a lot is what kinds of companies are considering this type of approach? Right now, it's really anyone who already owns SailPoint and has a long program of onboarding applications. And we're finding it's really across most vertical industries. So there's not a specific industry. It's just a quick way to get those applications onboarded and also less expensive. And another good one, Arlene, is why are companies getting excited about this?
Good question. I've talked to several of our clients and prospects, and there's a common thread, and it's really about shorter time frames, less cost, and also less dependence on hardcore Java developers. It's a different skill for training bots and configuring the plugin, so it's an easier skill set to master.
Awesome, thank you. Hopefully those questions will inform our customers about what's going to be needed to get started with RPA. In summary, RPA with IGA is a cost-effective and quick way to onboard applications into SailPoint, which can save time and money for integrating those complex legacy applications and help accelerate your IGA program. If you're interested in learning more, please reach out to one of us. We would be happy to schedule a demo of our RPA plugin solution. Thank you so much for joining us today, and we hope you have a great virtual Navigate.